And hello. Happy and beautiful and blessed Saturn day. And happy and beautiful and blessed Azazel day. Let's see what the message is for today. Tonight is the evening now. The sun actually set right this minute. It's 8:29. The Lovers in reverse. The High Priestess. The star sticking out right there. And then we have the Sun in reverse. To be honest with you, what I wanted to actually talk about when it comes to just like readings in general and whatnot here is, because I'll naturally as well too, given that I read tarot and I post it, I also see tarot readings on my page and everything, and you know, naturally readings stumble across my page talking about, you know, reconciliation or this person coming back or whatever, and that kind of stuff has just put a sour taste in my mouth. Not to say that it's not a possibility, because truthfully, you can reconcile with people. You know what I mean? You really can. But I find that readings as such, where sometimes they seem too good to be true, and I'm not trying to say this in the sense of sounding very pessimistic, because I'm that's not it at all. I believe in seeing things half glass full. I believe in, you know, focusing on all the beauty in this world and in life, but not to the extent where you're kind of allowing yourself in exhausting dynamics where you're overlooking the truth and surrendering to just the illusions. You know what I mean? And like, love is just one of the main things. Love is what makes the world go round. Who doesn't want love and who doesn't want connections? You know what I mean? But I can't help but feel that sometimes that, like, and I'm not, this isn't targeted toward anybody or anything of this nature, but I can't help but feel as though sometimes people are just simply preying on people's desire for love and connection. And I understand wanting to be in a connection. I understand that, but I genuinely like firmly believe, like, and like I said, it just depends on the situation. It depends on the scenario here. But if somebody has shown you how they feel about you and they've treated you in a way that you don't feel that you deserve, I've learned from my own experiences or whatever, you know, to just really believe when people show you who they are and how they feel about you. We're never bound to a certain person or anything of this nature, right? The possibilities in this life, they're infinite. It's important to keep in your mind that when it comes to being in a relationship with another person, what another person won't do, another will. Not in the sense of being like an opportunist, because then you're just using a person to be with them, but in the sense of understanding, like, okay, great, like you're not showing up for me in the way that I want you, whatever, anything of this nature, so you know what, I'm just going to proceed and I'm just gonna find somebody else. But in the meantime, be that person for yourself. But I'm not like, I totally understand wanting relationship, I totally understand wanting connections, like I understand it, but I'm not a fan when things I'm not a fan when, like, if just somebody, especially during a retrograde, Anyway, we have the Lovers here in reverse with the High Priestess and the Sun in reverse. The Lovers in reverse, that focuses on a lack of trust, a breach of trust or something of this nature. You know what I mean? Like, it focuses on a broken connection, a lack of harmony, in a connection, however it may be. You know what I mean? And then we also have the Sun here in reverse, and when the Sun is there in reverse or whatever, I, you know, naturally the one thing that, like, with the Sun that I always think about is just like one of the things that it represents is clarity. truth. Anything under, like the sun represents, yeah, clarity, truth, being authentic. It's a very optimistic kind of energy. It's a very healing kind of energy. And then so when it's like in reverse, you know what I mean? It kind of just can sometimes just feel like the opposite of that, right? So I want to talk about, feeling. There's something about feeling here because we have the High Priestess, which focuses on your intuition, your feeling. You know what I mean? Your intuition. Because sometimes your emotions are telling you things. And you sometimes need to listen to them, because that's also to your intuition. But your intuition, communicates with you in so many other beautiful ways, even apart from just your emotions. And we're just radios and everything of this nature here, right? So I guess kind of just what I want to say here with these are when you're presented with a situation, a connection in this matter, I'm not going to talk about anything else because we have the Lovers here. When you are presented with a relationship that perhaps on the outside, it may look really nice. It may seem really nice. It may seem as though it has a lot of potential. What is your internal world telling you? How do you feel in this relationship? How do you feel in this dynamic? Do you feel as though you are the sun? Do you feel as though there's space enough for you to shine? Or do you feel as though you need to dim your lights down for the comfort of whoever it may be? What the hell going on out there? What I want to say with the Lovers. The Eight of Swords in reverse. A freeing kind of energy. A liberating energy. Three of Pentacles there. Mirrors at the top. And then we have the Magician. So there's something about unchaining yourself. Unbinding yourself. Just beyond what you knew, what you've experienced. I think kind of what I was just saying in the beginning can kind of just relate to this anyway. You know what I mean? Just in the sense of saying we're never bound to a certain person or situation or anything if we ourselves do not feel satisfied, if we are not happy with it. If you do, as that's one of the main things that I'm always going to say here, if you do not like something, then you leave. Okay? Yeah, that Queen of Swords, setting boundaries, affirming yourself, and defending and protecting yourself. Okay? Seeing the truth, that's what I'm saying, talking about clarity. Look, we have the King of Swords in reverse at the top. Right? I will say with this King of Swords here in reverse, and what I kind of just really feel to just talk about is just one too many times I've found myself in certain dynamics, relationships, whatever. In this case, with men who only wanted to put me in a cage, who wanted just to confine me. It's a beautiful thing if a person has only ever encountered partners who really truly love them and who wants to see them bloom and everything of this nature. But there's just simply is the opposite end of the stick where, sometimes, because it's all energy. It doesn't have to be men, but I don't even care to talk about men or just that kind of energy in general, because it's very exhausting. I can't lie, it is exhausting. It's exhausting being in relationships that just feel very draining, that feel very just soul-sucking, with people who just kind of... Because with that King of Swords there in reverse, that's a very egotistical kind of energy. That's a very controlling, kind of energy. And especially in a much more mental or psychological kind of way, shall I say. You know what I mean? It can be very sly. But that's why it's so important to be rooted and grounded in the truth. With this Queen of Swords as well too. To protect yourself. You know what I mean? To set up and affirm these beautiful boundaries. Because like I said, it's important to know that if, as I said in the beginning, if you don't like what you're being presented with, then you leave. The Wheel of Fortune for the Sun. Constantly making choices that benefit you and uplift you and affirm your love for yourself I want to say perpetuates, but kind of fuels your wheel in the directions that align with your choices, because the Lovers also talks about choices. So, yeah, that's kind of just like all I really feel the need to say. Trust that the choices that you make, you will be met with what you want from them. But it requires just making uncomfortable choices. Sometimes it requires leaving the people that we envisioned ourselves with, right? I'll end that there.